Welcome to the deep dive.
Oh,
Okay, so we just finished watching all of the Righteous Gemstones. All 4 seasons.
what a ride.
Totally.
Huh.
And look, the story itself is pretty wild, but honestly, the thing that really jumps out is the fashion. Just the sheer audacity of it all.
Oh, absolutely.
So today, let's get into those costumes.
Definitely. And what's so interesting and what we've sort of been digging into is that it's not just random comedic exaggeration. The style actually draws from some really surprising places.
Like what?
Well, you've got the Televangelist thing, obviously, but mixed with, like, high fashion and even, believe it or not, drag performance art.
Wow, okay, drag.
Yeah. It's this fascinating blend. And now that the show's wrapped up its run, it feels like a good time to unpack what's really going on with those over-the-top looks.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So, starting with the obvious, I guess. The Televangelist angle.
Right.
Eli and Amy Lee, especially in the flashbacks, you immediately clock that specific, flashy kind of vibe.
Exactly. It's pure 80s televangelist chic. Think Jim and Tammy Faye Baker.
Oh, 100%. Tammy Faye.
Yeah, her signature look, the huge hair, the really bold makeup, the coordinated outfits.
Yeah.
It's all right there in Amy Lee especially. For people like the Bakers, image was crucial. It was performance, all the time.
Always on. And then the kids, Jesse, Kelvin, Judy, they took that theatrical thing and somehow just cranked it way, way up.
They really did. It's like leather suits in that southern heat.
I know.
Sequins everywhere. And the patterns, just these clashing kind of loud patterns. It almost feels like a throwback cry for help from the 80s, but like filtered through massive amounts of money.
Right. It's like wealth dialed up to absurdity.
Well, and the costume designer, Christina Flannery, she actually talked about this. She described their style as almost like a child's idea of what rich adults wear.
Huh. That makes sense.
Yeah, because despite all their power and, the church empire, the Gemstone siblings are fundamentally pretty immature, aren't they?
Definitely stunted.
So the bling, the super flashy church clothes,
Yeah.
it becomes this visual shorthand. It tells you about their arrested development and the fact that they have basically unlimited cash to fund whatever weird fantasy they have.
Okay, speaking of fantasies,
Yeah.
we cannot not talk about baby Billy Freeman.
Oh, baby Billy.
And that oyster shell outfit. I mean, you can't just make that up. Or can you?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. That look, it's basically lifted straight from high fashion.
No way. From who?
Carey Mugler. His incredible 1995 Birth of Venus dress. It's a super dramatic, giant, pink-lined clamshell.
Yeah.
Pure haute couture.
Wow. Okay, I need to look that up again.
You do.
Yeah.
And putting that design on Baby Billy, this sort of washed-up, slightly pathetic, aging performer,
It's genius satire.
it really is. And here's another layer. Mugler's work. Hugely influential in the drag community.
Ah, okay, so that connects back to what you said earlier.
Exactly. It adds this other dimension to the show's whole aesthetic. Because there are these weird parallels, right, between the big presentation of televangelism and the sort of heightened performance you see in drag.
Yeah, the spectacle of it all.
Precisely. And Flannery, the designer, also mentioned Lee Bowery as an influence.
The performance artist.
Yeah, the legendary London artist,
Yeah.
known for these totally surreal, boundary-pushing, gender-bending looks. That spirit, that kind of unconventional, almost defiant glamour. You see hints of it, maybe especially in some of Judy's outfits.
Judy's style is something else entirely.
It is. And you can even argue that the whole visual culture of something like, say, RuPaul's Drag Race has maybe subconsciously informed the Gemstones world, too. This idea of fashion as extreme performance.
It's kind of wild thinking about Tammy Faye Baker again in that context. Like, her look, which was just her, somehow ended up resonating with and being adopted by drag culture, especially in the South.
It's true. It makes you think about how these ideas of performance and gender expression can be way more fluid than we maybe assume.
Definitely. And connecting that back to the show, the costumes also say a lot about gender roles within the family, right? Like Amber,
Oh, Amber, yes. Jesse's wife. She's always immaculate.
always. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, the dresses that are always sort of body conscious, the heels.
It fits into a very specific mold of, like, Southern femininity. Someone even mentioned this idea of Republican makeup.
What's that?
It's this concept where a really polished, traditional kind of glamour is used almost as a way to project respectability and authority, especially in conservative circles. It's armor, in a way.
Okay, I see that with Amber. Whereas Judy often looks like she's just raided a wardrobe from an 80s prom that maybe didn't go so well.
Yeah, it's less conventionally glamorous, isn't it? It's often kind of awkward, even jarring.
Even though she's a gemstone born into it, her fashion sometimes feels like it undermines her, like it doesn't quite fit her supposed power.
That contrast is super telling. Flannery even said she looked at shows like Toddlers and Tiaras for Judy inspiration.
Seriously, wow.
Yeah, suggesting this kind of performative, maybe slightly off-key approach to femininity. It really highlights how appearance can be strength, but also maybe reveal vulnerability.
So when you pull back and look at the whole picture, it's way more than just laughs at crazy outfits. This whole deep dive into their closets, it shows there's some real commentary going on.
For sure. Commentary on megachurch culture, definitely. On the performance of faith, the performance of wealth.
And these kind of unspoken rules about gender and power we've been talking about.
Absolutely. All those sequins, Kelvin's ridiculous hype priest outfits, which are basically streetwear parody.
Right.
Even Baby Billy's Muggler moment. It all works together to satirize the excesses of that world. But importantly, it's satire that comes from a surprisingly informed place, pulling from real fashion history, real cultural figures.
You wouldn't automatically connect Tammy Faye Baker, Terry Mugler, and Leigh Bowery.
Not immediately, no. But seeing how the show weaves those threads together, it adds this whole other layer to appreciating the comedy and the critique.
It really does. It makes you think, even in fiction that seems completely outlandish, how the choices about clothes and style can give you these unexpected insights into actual culture, actual trends.
Yeah, definitely makes you look twice.
And maybe makes you think a little about the messages our clothes send out, even when we don't mean them to.
That's a great point. And maybe something for you, the listener, to think about too. What other fictional worlds have really distinct, maybe exaggerated styles? Could those styles also be tapping into real-world things, commenting on our society in ways you hadn't quite noticed before? We're thinking about what's underneath the sparkle.
Right.